Hello again, this is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So we already talked about the mage tier sets in general, but I wanted to expand a little more on the fire tier set in 11.1 and what it means for our combustion uptime. So the 2-piece bonus here gives cooldown reduction on combustion, and the 4-piece bonus gives a damage increase on top. The buff is random with a 3 RPPM unhasted, but it is guaranteed to activate whenever we use combustion, and it's also going to activate at 3 times effectiveness in terms of the cooldown reduction. So this is going to be 9 seconds off of every single combustion. The 4-piece bonus is a 15% damage increase for 15 seconds whenever this activates, so that's going to be about 3 times per minute, 7 seconds each time. It's going to be about 21 seconds out of every 60 seconds. Pretty high uptime already. But whenever we activate combustion, instead it's going to be a 14-second buff, which should be enough to cover most of the combustion duration. Now, as you can probably tell, the tier bonus heavily benefits from a shorter combustion cooldown, but it also delivers a shorter cooldown as well. Now, keep in mind, the cooldown of combustion is variable due to all of these different sources of cooldown reduction we get. So it's going to be stuff like Kindling, Unleashed Inferno, Shifting Power, and now JACKPOT as well. Now, despite its simplicity, this tier set will be very effective. I appreciate that there's also a damage increase component that isn't completely random because it's at least tied to combustion. This is when you'd want it most, so having it tied to the cooldown removes a bit of the frustration with random damage procs. Based on the wording, this buff will likely not activate from other sources, so there's probably not going to be any buff from Sun King's Blessing or Time Anomaly, unless you just happen to get a proc whenever those proc as well. So damage procs are a bit hard to discuss without context, but there's no doubt that this tier bonus heavily synergizes with Unleashed Inferno. So as Sun Fury, we're already playing that, and it's looking like a lot of the changes that are coming to Fire Mage will probably lead us towards Sun Fury back again, since they're kind of gutting Frostfire a bit. You can check out my last video for more information on that. But as Sun Fury, we're already seeing combustion cooldown fall down to sub 40 seconds, even as low as 30 seconds in the opener with Lust. So if we assume a modest 37-second cooldown on combustion on average, which is backed up in logs as well, if you want to look at logs from 11.0, whenever people were still playing Sun Fury, you can see that combustion was cast about at that interval, about 37 seconds. We already know that we're going to have 9 seconds off of that combustion because we are guaranteed to get 9 seconds of cooldown reduction. So already we can reduce that cooldown to 28 seconds on average. Now, with just a little luck, we'll likely see that cooldown reduction approach 20 seconds because remember, we get 3 seconds off every proc. The proc is about 3 times per minute. If combustion's already down to like a 28-second cooldown on average, we can expect to get maybe 1 or 2 of these JACKPOT procs. So it's going to be 6 seconds off of this. We're already really close to 20 seconds, right? 22 seconds on that. This is pretty crazy since we already get 14 seconds of 15% damage increase every time we use the cooldown, and we already have the 15% damage buff on average for 21 out of 60 seconds before factoring for Unleashed Inferno. With that being said, though, this is based on the current design of Fire, which is receiving a pretty substantial overhaul in 11.1. They're reducing the amount of Fire Blast and Phoenix Flames that you're going to get. So I think that will offset some of these gains, but also we're increasing the amount of haste we get, too. So I think overall, we'll have to wait and see, but it could end up being about net neutral with how long the combustion cooldown is on average. Now, with so much uptime, there are some concerns for how the damage buff will actually work. And, there's a random nature to this, so there's going to be some friction. Will it extend the duration if we already have the proc and we get another proc? Well, if it procs right before we use combustion, will it just waste that uptime or override it? My assumption is that it will probably waste the uptime, but you can always hope that Blizzard somehow considers this and then makes it so that the duration is just extended. In that case, we could end up in the situation where this 4-piece 15% bonus is up pretty much all the time, and that seems a little too strong, so I'm not sure if they'll go that route. But yeah, until we're able to log in testings, we just don't really know. It's hard to say. Regardless of how Fire shapes up in 11.1, this tier bonus is really, really strong, although it is slightly uninspired. But yeah, I'd like to hear what you think of this tier bonus. How do you feel about increased combustion uptime? Are you looking forward to having Sun Fury be the mage spec again and having cooldown of combustion down to like 22 to 28 seconds? How do you feel about the changes to Fire coming in 11.1? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.